Hey, how's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's your old friend Oathwood, back from the dead once more to deliver you some sagely wisdom wrapped in just enough nonsensical garbage to keep things mildly entertaining at best. And it's been a while since I last made a video. That's for a multitude of reasons, which I'll soon get into, but I just wanted to apologize, because every time I come back, I swear I say, oh, this time I'm gonna start making more content, this time I'm gonna make more videos, and every time I mean it, but I never seem to be able to follow through with it. And if you couldn't tell by my name, my word is my bond. I take promises and that kind of sentiment very seriously. So it does sort of disparage my own name in a certain sense that I am not able to follow through with my own commitments. But hopefully that will change in the near future. If you're wondering where the Elden Ring video is, don't worry, it is still in production. It is shaping up to be a very long video. I was actually unable to work on it for about a month. Simply due to some faulty hardware in my PC. As it turned out, some of the RAM that I had bought had turned out to be faulty. I had two 16GB sticks from G-Skill, which were just bum-ass faulty hardware. And I was wondering why my computer just kept crashing. I kept getting blue screens when I was playing video games or when I was trying to edit a video, and it became very, very frustrating when I would work on a video for an hour at a time only to lose a large percentile of that progress I'd made to a random unexpected blue screen. So that has certainly kept my Elden Ring video at bay, but do not be swayed, the video does exist, it is real, just like the One Piece, and it will come out sooner or later. And it's going to be a fucking certified banger. I'll give you a quick little preview of what you can expect from that video down the road, but be assured, it's coming. I'd also like to say thank you to anybody that watched my last video. The last video I made actually was very well received. It's probably one of the best performing videos I've made that I can at least remember. I think that video got over 100 views within 48 hours, which is kind of unheard of for a channel as small as mine. I don't even have 100 subscribers, so thank you to everybody who clicked on that and left me a nice comment or clicked thumbs up. I really appreciate it. I guess I'm sort of trying to capture that lightning in a bottle here with this video, as this video is kind of made in the same vein as that video was. I'm just sitting here talking to you like we're gathered around a campfire or something. You might think of it as being a little parasocial, but I think of it as being cozy, and I prefer to think of it that way. But I don't really know what this video is about. I just wanted to make a video because I really enjoy making videos, despite how infrequently I seem to pull myself together and do so. Life is crazy. As I said in the last video, life is crazy. And when I made my last video, I was in a pretty bleak predicament. There was a collections agency with a baseball bat looking to dismantle my kneecaps. I was like $1,500 in debt. I didn't have a job. It was rough. It was not a great time to be alive. However, I can tell you with a great big old smile on my face that things have changed. I now have a job. It's not exactly glamorous or fun, but it pays the bills and I get a lot of hours. And that's part of the reason I haven't been making videos as regularly as I would like to, just because I haven't had a lot of free time, or at least not as much as I'm used to having. And I've also been kind of low energy because work has taken a lot out of me. I've had a couple encounters with homeless people. I'm a security guard, in case you're wondering. Homeless people who were more than likely under the influence of narcotics or drugs or alcohol or some other such nefarious substance. And these people were armed, to my understanding. So dealing with these problematic people was pretty scary. Definitely got the adrenaline going. I could tell you a lot of stories about my work, but I'll spare that for another video. Although, now that I mention it actually, since I don't have a script or anything, I'm just freeballing this entire video. Just yesterday, I was working a 10-hour shift. And during my shift, I was just, making my usual patrol, my rounds, patrolling the premises, and I didn't hear or see the impact, but when I exited one of the entrances to the building, I found a very, very tiny little, I think it's a black-capped chickadee, just laid out flat on his ass on the sidewalk. I thought he was dead at first. Just, he was sitting there motionlessly. I'd never seen a bird sit like that. Usually they're like, you know, on their feet in some capacity, but this guy was flat on his ass like he'd just been knocked out by Mike Tyson. So I came to the conclusion that this guy had smashed his head into a window at Mach 4 or 5 and probably killed himself in the process. Although to my surprise, this little bird actually blinked at me. So I realized it was still alive, like the lights were on in there, somebody was home. And being a security guard is pretty boring, Bumdinger surprise, I know. So I didn't really have too much going on, not a lot on my plate that day. No homeless people sleeping on benches or shooting up heroin in the family washroom on a Tuesday afternoon. So I just decided to guard the little penguin, so I stood over him like a mother penguin, with him kind of nestled between my legs, just making sure that like nobody with a rogue shopping cart like ran him over because they were oblivious, or no shithead little bastard kid came along and stomped on him to finish him off. I wouldn't call myself an animal activist. I'm not a vegan. I'm not even really like a vegetarian or anything like that, but I do typically try to avoid eating meats where possible. I don't overindulge with that kind of stuff, but I wanted to protect this little guy because the way I see it, the world is a really fucking cruel and terrible place. But this little bird, you know, he's an innocent little creature. He's done no wrong. He doesn't deserve to have his life end. You know, just because some little shithead 13-year-old thinks it's funny to kick the bird into the fucking storm drain and kill it, like, the little guy deserves a chance to come to his senses and get his bearings back and get back out there. And if I were that little bird, I would want somebody on my side looking out for me. So I looked out for this little bird. I protected him for like 15, 20 minutes, you know. I was no longer a security guard for the building in question. I was now a security guard for this dumbass little bird who had stunned himself and fallen onto the sidewalk, completely and utterly helpless. And I waited about 20 minutes for this guy to come to, you know. I saw him try and move his wings and turn his head a little bit. Like, his motor functions were there. His neck wasn't broken or anything. But he was struggling to come to. He must have been in a lot of pain. And eventually, I decided, alright, I've been standing here for a while. I need to go, like, do my job and patrol other parts of this place. So, I decided to pick the bird up. And I just carried him with me. And I didn't do this because I wanted a reward, or because I thought it would be a cool story to, like, that would garner me like brownie points with people or anything like that. I didn't do it because I wanted a gold sticker that says, I'm a good person, look at me being a good Samaritan. I did it because I cared about that life. I didn't want that innocent creature's life to end abruptly in a way that was not justified. All life is precious. All life is precious. Everything from the ants and the termites in the wood to even wasps, as much as I hate to admit it. Even wasps, even their lives are valuable. Now I'll admit, as much as I like to try and be a protector of creatures and animals on this planet, because I feel a sense of obligation to do so as a human being of the earth, I feel that it is my moral responsibility to look out for and protect innocent creatures. I will admit, first and foremost, that if it flies, it dies. In regards to insects, birds, you know, they're cool, you know, If it is actively trying to cause me bodily harm in any capacity, such as a mosquito or a territorial hornet/wasp, I have a death warrant and I'm going to use it. So, I do murder some animals and creatures of the earth with extreme prejudice and disdain, but that's because they deserve it. That's because they're mean and harmful. You know, I don't want to get bitten by a tick and get Lyme disease and lose all motor functions, you know what I mean? So, fuck ticks. Spiders are cool. Yeah, anyway. I carried this little bird around back of the building because he rammed his fucking noggin into the front window of the front entrance. And I carried him around back, and originally I was just gonna like set him down in some grass or something, but then I thought, oh, what if a cat comes along and eats him? So, like, yeah, okay, that's the nature of life. That's better than some shithead kid coming along and just stomping on him because they think it's funny. But I wanted to give the guy a chance. I didn't want to just like leave him stranded. I wanted to see him recover. So I, quite foolishly, quite naively, spoke aloud to this little bird in my hand. And I'm like, hey little guy, hey little buddy, what do you think of that tree over there? Do you think you could make it up there? And I kid you not, it was almost as though this bird either took some sort of like improv lesson or could understand perfect English, but the little bird literally looked up to me in my hand, like blinked his eyes at me, chirped, turned back to look at the tree, and then flew away. And the bird sat there in that tree looking down at me, chirping, chirp, chirp, chirp. And honestly, it just made me feel so warm inside. Like, nobody really fucking knew I did that. Like, nobody was like, oh, look at this guy going and saving this bird. What a good Samaritan, what a good person. I wasn't doing it for anything like that. I did it because I wanted to help the bird. But I'm telling you this story because kindness is in such short supply these days. Cruelty is a courtesy and kindness is a weakness in the modern era. And it breaks my heart because I refuse to accept that world that we live in. I believe in a world where kindness and mercy and forgiveness are virtues, not weaknesses. And I want to see more people having positive influences on their communities and the world around them. I want to see people being kind to each other. When I'm working as a security officer and I am, strictly instructed to get after and chastise a hobo for sleeping on a bench, I don't fucking get up in this guy's face and like, hey, I'm gonna beat your ass, motherfucker, you better get out of here. I'm not trying to exercise what little power I have over this guy. I pretty calmly, pretty politely say like, hey man, you can't sleep here, I'm sorry. The poor guy's got nowhere to go, he's fucking homeless, but it's private property. I can't have homeless people smelling like death and cigarettes sleeping in the lobby of a business building. So that's that. But you don't need to be cruel and mean-spirited to people. You can be kind, you can be compassionate. And the world seems to have fucking forgotten that. I don't know how or why. And it upsets me. There was one time I was walking through a suburban neighborhood in my hometown. I'd been through this neighborhood for what feels like a million times. And I distinctly remember I found a potted plant that had been removed from its pot. It looked like it had been kicked over or knocked over in some capacity because the loamy soil was still shaped in the form of the pot it had been sitting in, and the plant was still alive and healthy, so it was pretty recent. But the soil and the plant were displaced from the pot itself. And there was nobody around in the street. It was pretty secluded. It was like 2 p.m. Nobody was around. Everybody was at work or at school, and it's just the suburbs, right? So there's no witnesses. There's nobody here to pat me on the back for being a good Samaritan here. But I picked up that potted plant, despite the fact that I hardly ever like getting my hands dirty. And I put it back because I felt like it was the right thing to do. Because that plant is... It sounds kind of dumb to say aloud, but I mean it, man. That plant is alive, and it deserves to be alive because it hasn't done anything wrong. When I find a spider in my house, I don't crush the spider. I pick him up and I carry him outside because that little creature does not know that he is trespassing in my home. He does not mean to scare me or harm me. He is not an intruder or a spy. He is just an innocent little creature who found himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I don't think that it deserves to have its life snuffed out for that. So I'm not going to try and say that every arachnophobe is a terrible person because they are mean to spiders. If you I'm mean to wasps, okay? Wasps are shitheads. I think we should just try to look at the world around us as an opportunity for compassion, and we should be searching for ways that we can be kind to others, not just human beings, but everything around us. There's actually a clip of me on Twitch playing Elden Ring for the first time blind, and I was fighting the Godskin duo, and there was a jumping spider perched upon my Blue Yeti microphone while I was trying to deal the killing blow to the boss, and I killed the boss and then immediately dropped everything. Tried to get the spider out of my house. I didn't swat at it or try and crush it. I picked up an envelope and I gently coaxed it onto the envelope and carried him outside. I was talking a guy down from suicide. Don't jump, don't jump, don't jump. It was pretty funny. But, you don't have to immediately resort to the lethal option. You can explore your options here. You don't immediately have to go for the cruel dialogue option. You don't have to make an enemy out of somebody just because they inconvenienced you. The world is a cruel place, but it doesn't have to be. And I think if more people came to that realization that kindness is not a weakness and that being courteous to other people is a beautiful thing, I think the world would be a much more beautiful place to be. I'm no scholar, I'm no philosopher, I'm no expert, I'm not going to tell you that I am an authority on morality or righteousness. but I do indeed hunger and thirst for righteousness. I want to be a good person, and I try to be a good person, and I don't always succeed, but there are certainly moments where I do. And those moments are moments where I am met with the opportunity to defend a helpless little creature from what would otherwise be an untimely demise. I actually cannot put into words how warm my breast felt when that bird took flight and took to the tree that I had so like foolishly asked him to fly to, as if he could understand English. I felt so fucking good, because it would have been very, very easy for me to just ignore the bird or not go out of my way to help him, you know? And I almost guarantee you that that bird would have died if I hadn't done something. I'm not going to say that it 100% would have died, but it was on a busy sidewalk in the shadow where nobody would have seen it, and it probably would have been stepped on, kicked, stomped, run over, anything. But I gave the little guy a chance, and it worked out. And I just think more people should act like that. I look around me and I just see people being cruel to one another constantly. And it upsets me, because that's not the world I know, and that's not the world I'm going to accept. The world I live in is a beautiful place where I know my neighbors by name, and I respect them, and I look out for them, and we look out for each other, because we live in a community, and the ordeal of living is a shared tribulation. The world does not owe anyone anything. But I believe that we as human beings have a very innately human choice to make. We have the ability to decide, in general. You know, a predatory creature such as a wolf or a coyote doesn't really get much choice or say in whether or not they take the life of a prey animal, because they need to take the life of the prey animal to survive. But I, as a human being, have this unique opportunity to decide, no, I'm not going to take the life of this helpless little creature. I'm going to help him. There is something so uniquely human about that decision. And most people don't even care to make that decision. They just thoughtlessly proceed. And I only feel like I'm scratching the surface here, because if I really wanted to hit you with some heavy-weighted substance or, you know, some profound metaphors or anything like that, I would have to conjure up some sort of script or at least some sort of bullet points. But I'm really just freeballing, spitballing this shit. Yeah, I think all life is precious, and I think we as human beings owe it to the creatures of the earth to look out for them. I'm not saying that, you know, you shouldn't eat meat, that makes you a bad person. If you like bacon, if you like beef jerky, fucking go for it, man. Beef jerky's delicious. I think you're a fool for buying it, because $7 for 7 tiddlywinks of beef jerky is a fucking scam, and you're just letting it happen. Like, you're getting railed by big beef jerky. But, you know, you do you, man. I think the world has the potential to change, and I don't think the human race is too far gone. But, you know, people have to be willing to put in the effort to change. People have to be willing to try and transform their lives. People have to be willing to make an effort to be a courteous and kind-hearted individual. Kindness does not come naturally to everyone. I have always been a pretty gentle soul. I have always been a pretty kind and compassionate guy. But I've never considered myself weak. I choose kindness because it's the courteous and righteous thing to do. I choose kindness because what sense is there in making enemies? What sense is there in meeting the world and meeting the day with hate in my heart? It takes so much effort to go around every day hating people. Like, holding a grudge is almost impossible for me, because I just don't care. I don't care. Like, maybe if you, like, slaughtered my family in front of me, I might hold a grudge, but, like, if you bullied me in high school, I don't really give a fuck. I grew up in a very Christian household where, you know, God was king. I wasn't really, like, taught that God might be real. I was pretty effectively told that he most certainly was in existence, which certainly warped my development as a child. There's no denying that much. But I also think I turned out pretty fine, because the Bible has a lot of great fucking lessons about, you know, being righteous and good morality. I mean, people nowadays like to think, like, we have always had this sense of morality, but we didn't. Human beings 100 years ago were monstrous. Arguably more monstrous than we've become in recent years. That's a whole other debacle, because the internet is most certainly eroding the minds of the youth and adults alike. Like, oh my lord. I read about a homeless man who was stabbed to death by like a group of 11 teenage girls. Like, they all just circled around him like he was fucking Julius Caesar, and they shanked him to death in the middle of a crowded subway. Like, the dude didn't do anything. Like, he didn't do anything to deserve to be stabbed. He was just murdered because I don't know if they were mentally ill. Maybe it was sort of like TikTok brain rot challenge. I don't know. I'm not going to claim to know. I don't want to know. But the more and more I look around me, the darker and more bleak the world seems to become. And I fucking hate that. Because I want to go out in a world where I don't have to worry about getting stabbed because I made eye contact with a guy who looks like he's kind of mean. You know what I mean? I want to go out into a world and know that I'm safe. I live in Canada, a country where gun crime is pretty fucking scarce because guns are really not easy to get here, and the kind of guns you can get are also very restricted. If you want a pistol, you either need to be a police officer or a gun smuggler, and those are pretty much your only two options. I wholeheartedly disagree with that law. I think revolvers in particular should be legal, because you can't really modify a revolver to become a fucking fully automatic assault rifle like you can a Glock. Glocks are kind of ridiculous. You can put a drum magazine with like 80 bullets in there, put a fucking stock and a barrel on it, and make it like a folding SMG rifle. I don't know, man. Guns are weird. I'm not a gun guy. Guns are cool, but I'm not going to pretend I know shit about them. But what I do know is that you should be more courteous. You should be looking to the world as an opportunity to be kind. You should be looking to the world and asking yourself, what can I do to make the world a better place today? Don't fucking kill yourself. Don't take that in like the most like 2016 edgy humor way possible. Don't like, oh, well, I'll improve the world today by ending my own life because I'm a fucking degenerate piece of trash. Don't do that. Don't fucking kill yourself. Go out into the world and just try to be kind. Fucking just smile at a stranger. Like, the amount of times I've just smiled at people I've never seen before and they smile back. It's like, it's so fucking easy. It is so fucking easy to be nice, and nobody wants to do it. Everybody would rather like puff their chest out, and make a scowling face, and go, I'm gruff and tough and mean, and you don't want to get on my bad side. Like, motherfucker, just be kind. Like, I don't care if you think you're a tough dog or whatever. Like, I'll put you down like a dog. You hear me? I don't know where I'm going with this video. I don't know where I went with this video. Just be kind. Just be courteous. Have compassion for the world and seek opportunity to do good. Because at the end of the day, I don't think there is really much to being human other than being good. Yeah, I'm not really sure how to end this video, or the Elden Ring video's coming. I'm going to make more videos in the future. I don't want to say weekly videos, but maybe monthly would be a decent target to aim for. 12 videos a year sounds pretty doable, to be honest, but we'll see. Depends on how much I work and how many ideas I have. Because I can't always just sit down like this and just fucking ramble into a microphone. As much as I might like it. But be humble, be kind, be a good person. And it's okay to fail. It's okay to fail. Do not fear failure. God forbid you lose your patience with somebody that you care about. It's easy to say sorry. Like, hey man, I let my anger get the best of me. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I didn't really mean it, you know. That was the anger talking. It's so easy. It's so easy to just speak from the heart. And people just don't. People want to be perceived in a certain way, so they will engineer themselves to present themselves in a certain way so that others will perceive them in the way they want to be perceived. And it's just so fake. Like, I feel like 95% of the people on the face of the earth at this current moment in time are quotations of another person. Nobody has their own thoughts anymore. Nobody like, everybody wants to be somebody they're not, and I just don't understand why. I understand that there is a certain element of acting, I suppose, or imitation in regards to becoming the person you want to be. I just don't think most people go about it the right way. I'm going to leave the video at that today. I don't even know what game I'm playing. This video is going to be cobbled together with duct tape and faith, but that's what you signed up for. Leave a like or comment, subscribe, dislike, send me a death threat. I don't really care one way or the other. Just The engagement really does help. I can't stress that enough. Like, there's a great chance you don't realize how much the engagement on YouTube actually helps me, because just clicking that little thumbs up button boosts my video's weight in the algorithm. So the more people comment on this video and engage with it, the more people that are liking the video and, you know, sending YouTube positive feedback about my channel and my content, the more likely my content is to be recommended to others. I'm not trying to like pressure you or socially engineer you into doing my bidding, but if you enjoy the content and you want to see more of it, you want to share it with somebody, I would really appreciate that. But thanks a lot for watching. I hope to see you again in the future, and adios.